Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. So today we're going to be doing the final part of the Q&A, at least for this time. Maybe I'll do another one in the future. So let's continue with the questions. Okay, so Alex Hall. Personally, if you had to choose, would you choose function or aesthetics for a watch? Meaning, would you rather say a GShock, which aren't always beautiful to look at but have a huge number of functions, or would you choose a nice watch to look at but have it only display time? Well, it really depends on the situation. I really like both. But I often, when people ask me which GShock to choose, let's say if they're undecisive between two models and one has a bit different functions and more functions than the other, I always say choose the one that you like the look of the most. Why? Well, because functions are something that you're going to play with for first couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months, and after that you're going to end up wearing that watch for years, looking only checking the time and wearing it as an accessory. So if you like the look of it, you're going to like living with it later on. So if I had to choose, I believe aesthetics, as long as it has the basic function covered right, which is telling time, aesthetics are the ones that I would choose. Okay, moving on. Glorious Union. Today we see a lot of actions that incorporate plastic or composite parts. Is there any objective clear advantage, one over the other? And do you have a preference? Now, plastic is used in watchmaking because it's a self-lubricating material. When you use metal, you need to lubricate it. With time, these lubricants are going to dry out and wear out, which is going to cause the part to actually wear out. Plastic is self-lubricating, so it doesn't need any maintenance. Now, if incorporated right, let's say on parts that don't move as often and are not at a lot of stress, plastic can be an excellent material. Like let's say on the date change mechanism that Seiko uses on the 7S26. Because it's used on something that moves once a day, it doesn't really get that much wear, and you get a self-lubricating material, meaning that even 20 years from now, it's going to have the same amount of lubrication that it has now. However, if you use it on something that has a lot of wear, let's say a seconds wheel or something like that, that's not going to work. And that's why they don't do it, because it's going to wear out very quickly. So plastics, yes, if applied smartly, can be very good. Moving on, we love watches. Do you sleep with your watch on, or is it just me? I used to do it, especially when our baby was still very little, because when I wake up I want to see the time to know if it's feeding time, if it's something else. But recently I started taking it off. So I did, but not anymore. Robert Sanchez. What country do you live? Because the food at that festival drove me crazy. Croatia. So yeah, it was really good food. Damian Gordon. Hello, I'm now a new member to the GShock Club. My G2310 arrived today and I'm very pleased. I plan on getting the GW9400 or a ProTrack for Christmas. Which should I get? Well, a GW9400 rangeman is basically a ProTrack with the GShock protection. So it means it's just a tougher ProTrack. I like the look of some ProTracks more than the rangeman, but you just have to decide whether you want the looks more or you want the function more. With a ProTrack, and sometimes ProTracks are even better when it comes to functions, but when it comes to rangemen, they're pretty much the same. With a ProTrack, any scuffs and marks that you put on the watch are there to stay for the whole lifetime of the watch. With a rangeman, since it has the same GShock construction where there's a bezel around the watch, any damage that you do to the outside of the watch can be repaired by simply replacing the bezel after 5 years, 10 years, or whatever you want. So you're basically going to have a new looking watch no matter when you decide to change the bezel. While on a ProTrack, you can't replace the bezel, so any damage is there to stay. I would personally choose the rangeman. Moving on. Rizwan Ali. Should I get the GWM5610 or GWS5600? I know they're the same module, but the durability of the carbon fiber is compelling. Now, I covered the GWS5600, and to me it's one of the most ultimate G-Shocks because of all the technology that was built into it. And the GWM5610 is one of the best bang for buck watches. They have the same functionality. Now, you say that you would buy it for the durability of the carbon fiber. That durability, yes, it will stop the watch strap from actually breaking and your watch falling off, but that carbon fiber is surrounded with resin. So even though it's theoretically everlasting, after 10 or 15 years of wear, that strap is probably going to look so bad because of all the cracks on the resin part. They're going to want to replace it anyways, just as you would the resin one. Now, if you like the look of that carbon fiber, and if you like the technology behind that model with all the titanium parts, yes, go for the GWS 5600 the way I did. But if you just wanted to be tougher because of the carbon fiber, I don't think that justifies the increased cost that you're going to pay. So if you want toughness, I would rather get a GWM 5610 and get spare bezels and straps than a GWS 5600. Now, like I said, I chose the GWS 5600, but because I like the story behind it and all the technology that was built into it, the titanium parts and everything. So you decide, but in your case, I believe the GWM 5610 would be a better choice. Okay, moving on. Martin Shivers. On a quartz, can one adjust the seconds hand to hit the indices precisely? If so, how? You can't adjust it unless you take off, dismantle the watch and try to readjust the seconds hand by taking it off and putting it back on. But even then, if the movement is pretty cheap and it has those, ticks where the hand dances, you're probably gonna miss. You're not gonna be able to put it to perfectly align. Now, usually people associate perfectly aligned seconds hand with very expensive watches like Grand Seiko and stuff. And even they can sometimes miss a mark by a fraction of the millimeter. However, I have had the experience of finding Casio watches, analog watches that are pretty cheap, that costed like $60, where the seconds hand hit all the markers perfectly. And also Citizen watches, I often find Citizen watches where they always hit either perfectly or almost perfectly. So your best bet is to simply go to a store that has a lot of watches and try them on until you find one that's within your tolerance. Because adjusting it is simply it's not that simple. Moving on. This was a question that I answered last week. Okay, Horology House, what's your grail? I covered that in the first video, but you probably posted this before that video was online, so there's your answer. Bart Heddle, what is your favorite watch that you have, and what do you like more, digital or analog? Well, I have a couple of favorite watches, and I answered that in the previous video. I really couldn't pick one to be the one that I like the most. When it comes to digital and analog, it depends on the mood. Sometimes I'm really into digital watches, and then I'll wear my whole GShock collection for like a couple of months, and I won't even look at analog watches. And then sometimes I prefer analog, and I really wear analogs for I don't know, months. Analog is better for, basic time telling at a glance, but digital gives you a lot more information, and I kind of like digital as well. So I really can't decide. I believe analog would be my answer if I had to pick only one for the rest of my life, but I do enjoy a digital. Okay, PT 1111111. Can you do a video on titanium watches? I don't know if I covered any models, but I don't know if you mean generally about titanium watches or do a video of a certain titanium model, because I probably will run into titanium watches that I'm going to be doing reviews. When it comes to titanium watches in general, they're great if you know what you're getting, because a lot of times people are going to get disappointed with titanium watches because they're very light, and people usually associate lightness with cheapness, which is wrong. Mostly it's not wrong, but in this case it's wrong. So a titanium watch is something that you need to know what you're getting into. Also, a lot of titanium watches are a lot softer than stainless steel ones, so they're going to look scratched up and scuffed up much sooner than stainless steel ones. There are Citizen watches with a Duratect and Duratect Alpha and different coatings that make them very, very hard. But those usually cost a lot, and the best ones are reserved for the JDM market, or Japanese domestic market. But maybe I'll do a video covering all these things that I just said. But I hope you got at least part of the answer right now. And the final question is from Carm42YN. Why waste time on mechanical watches? Because we like them. Why waste time watching TV when you can live your life? Why waste time commenting on YouTube videos when you can, again, live your life? Or why watch YouTube when you can watch something else? You probably like it and that's why you do it. So not everything has to be logical, especially in watch collecting, where we usually pay more for something that is technically inferior to something that is a lot cheaper. So I understand what you're saying. Why would you buy a mechanical watch that costs 10 times the price of a simple quartz watch that will be better at telling time for the rest of your life? But it doesn't really make sense because this hobby doesn't make sense. It's something we do because we love it. Anyways, I hope I answered your question. Well, that's it when it comes to the questions. And like I said, maybe I'll repeat this again sometime in the future. I would like to thank you all for asking these questions, and I really hope you enjoyed and got some useful information from the answers. That will be all for today, so until the next video, bye.